The title of today's lecture is Mental Detoxification and Optimal Health. Mental detoxification and optimal health. So we're going to talk about what is optimal health, what is mental detoxification. When you go to the doctor and he says, well, this turned out normal, let's look at, say, blood sugar. Normal is if you're under 100, if you're 99 down to, let's say, 75. They say, well, that's normal. But it turns out it's not optimal. Because if you have your blood sugar, your fasting glucose level, if it's over 85, you'll have a shorter lifespan. You're more prone to dementia, more prone to cardiovascular disease, particularly if you're in high normal range. But definitely a lower lifespan if you're over 85. So when they say it's normal, that's not really what you want to know about. You want to know what is optimal. So I have the longest, healthiest life. What is optimal? Well, optimal turns out to be between 75 to 85 is optimal. So you have to understand the concept of optimal. We're not just talking normal. Let's look at vitamin D. If you have a vitamin D deficiency, you're more prone to all the major diseases, cancer, cardiovascular disease, which could be heart attacks and strokes, diabetes, arthritis, all the major diseases if you have a vitamin D deficiency. Well, what's considered normal? Well, normal is if your blood work, you get a blood test, and if your test turns out over 30, that's considered normal. But it's not optimal. Optimal is if your blood works between 50 and 80. 100 is toxic, but 50 to 80 is optimal. If you're under 50, you're more prone to all those illnesses. You'll have a shorter lifespan. So if your doctor says, well, nothing to worry about, it's normal, that could be 30, 40. It's unlikely you're 50. Most people have a vitamin D deficiency. It's not optimal health. So you want a blood work of 50 to 80. Now, for a man, comes in and he gets his testosterone level. So let's say he has 400. Doctor says, well, the test came out normal, 400. But if you're not over 550, you're going to have a shorter lifespan. You're more prone to many illnesses. You want over 550. You want to have over 550. See the difference between what normal is and optimal. Now, HDL, which is your good cholesterol, for a man you want it over 40, but you really want it over 50, really to start getting into optimal ranges. So there are many numbers like that. And typically it takes allopathic medicine 15 years to catch up with what we know from vigorous studies in alternative medicine. That's a fact. It takes about 15 years to catch up. It used to be with blood pressure, they would say, well, it's normal if it's 130 over 85. But optimal is 115 over 75. Yeah, optimal. So keep in mind, the title of today's lecture is Mental Detoxification and Optimal Health. Mental detoxification and optimal health. That's the topic. So you need to understand the concept of optimal health. And you can't possibly have optimal health if you have mental toxins in your thoughts. Because we know that the mental toxins, such as, for example, anger, resentment, desire for revenge, we know for a fact that it'll shorten your lifespan. We know for a fact that it makes you more prone to strokes and heart attacks. So you can be exercising, you could be on a really good, clean diet, but if you have mental toxins, you cannot be at optimal health. It's impossible.